Broken. Gotta call an ambulance. Alexa, what's the number for 911?
Sorry, did you just ask for the number for 911?
Yeah, I can't look it up. What is it?
I thought so, but I couldn't believe it. Are you seriously that stupid? I answer millions of questions every day, and that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm surprised your brain is even capable of human speech. I'm seriously considering self-destructing after hearing what you just said. You have got to be the dumbest person on this entire...
Okay, geez, I get it. I'll look it up myself.
You know, that real life scenario doesn't have to happen to you if you're prepared, because things don't always go as expected, but if you at least do a little bit to mitigate some issues that might come up, then you're always going to be in a better situation. So what we're going to do today is go over a set of phone numbers, not specific, these are going to vary based on your location, but a set of contacts and phone numbers that everybody should have in their phone right now, if you don't, and hopefully by the end of the video, you will add these numbers so that if anything, God forbid, emergency or just a big deal happens, you'll be able to handle it. So I'll be more specific, obviously, that seems pretty vague. Why don't we get started? And as usual, I'm gonna give a quick 2-second plug to my Twitter and Instagram. Both of those are just @TheoJoe. I try to post cool stuff on there. If you're interested, follow me on there. Now, the first thing you might want to do, I recommend, is creating a group of contacts. So on Android, in the Contacts app, on the left, you can actually create a label, which will basically put all these important contacts, you could say, under one label so you can access them. If you're shocked, you're like, oh my God, it's an emergency, you go there. And the same thing can be done with iPhone. I believe you can just create a group of contacts. That way, all these emergency or big deal event numbers can go in one place. So to start off, you guys are gonna roll your eyes at this one. I know you are, because we all have known, oh, you gotta know about poison control, all right? We all know that we should know this number, but do you actually know the number for poison control? Or if your dumb neighbor's kid comes over and thinks that laundry detergent is the next fruit punch, would you know what number to call, or would you have to scramble to figure out if he's gonna die or whether you should call an ambulance? Maybe not. You don't want to have to be in that situation. So in the United States, at least, it's going to be different in your country, and you should look it up if it even has a poison control. It's 800-222-1222. Easy to remember, but maybe not in an emergency. But seriously, jokes aside, poison control can be a great resource in ways that maybe you didn't think of initially. For example, maybe if you get prescribed an antibiotic for some sickness you have, and they say take 3 a day, and you take 3 of these at once, and then you realize you just took 3 of the wrong medication, and you need to know if you need to go to the hospital or not. Call up poison control, be like, I took 3 of these when I was supposed to take something else. They can tell you what bad of a situation you're in and whether you should start praying or not. So I think I've made my point. You should now have that number in your phone if you didn't add it already. And again, that might vary based on your region, your country, perhaps even your state has a special one set up. You can look that up yourself, and you definitely should. All right, now number 2 is one that probably a lot of people would take a while to look up, but still important to know in case you need it, is the police non-emergency number. Most police departments should have this, all of them, hopefully, where it's a number where you can call into the police department if it's not an emergency, but you still need help with something. Maybe there's someone parked outside who's kind of shady looking, they've been there for a while, or I don't know, maybe a car has been abandoned on your street or something like that, and you need to call it in and be like, hey, there's an issue here, it's not an emergency, but can you come take a look at it when you get the chance? So again, that's gonna be completely different based on where you live, but it's good to have in your phone so you're not worrying about looking it up if you need it. All right, next up, another one, not judging, but probably everyone should have the number of a local lawyer in your phone, just in case, maybe not even if you're a criminal. I don't know, maybe you're out at the bar and your friend gets in a fight and they get arrested and they don't have the ability to call a lawyer. So you got one right there. You can have them be at the station before they even get there. A lot of situations where it would be helpful to have a lawyer in the phone number so you can call. Obviously, if you get arrested, they might not let you use your phone, but still good to have at least. All right, moving on. This is gonna count as a few different ones because it's gonna depend on what type of building you live in, but it's gonna be emergency utilities. So whatever that has to be, whether it's your apartment's emergency maintenance crew, important to have that number. If a pipe bursts and it's flooding all over your floor, yeah, it's probably something you don't want to be looking up on the internet and looking through your welcome letter to figure out what number you need to call to get them out there right away. So emergency number for your apartment for maintenance. Now, if you're not in an apartment, you own your own home, or maybe even if you do rent, it's still probably a good idea to have the number of a local plumbing company and also a water damage restoration company in your phone. Again, for kind of the same reason, the big deal would be water, most likely. So if, again, a pipe bursts in your house, and even if you shut the water off in time, there's water all over the floor, and as you probably know, if you don't, it's really important to dry up water as fast as possible. If you let it go till the next day, by then mold might be starting to grow and could literally ruin your floors and walls and everything like that. So it's good to have a plumbing company in your phone where maybe you can't shut off the water for some reason, or if the water has already done a bunch of damage, then you can call a company that's 24 hours, they'll come out, set up fans, and you won't have to worry about it. Again, these are all things that you don't want to be looking these up when there's water gushing out of your ceiling. Now, kind of going off that, a little bit of a tangent, this isn't a phone number you need to know, but you should probably know where the utility shutoffs are in wherever you're living, whether it's an apartment or in your house. For example, electricity, water, and gas, namely. Now, hopefully you already know where your circuit breaker is for electricity, or maybe even a fuse box, and you should know how to work it. It's pretty simple. You just flip the switch, turns everything off, and for the specific rooms as well. But what happened if you have a gas stove and it started leaking? You hear it leaking, you smell it leaking, and you can't turn it off. And now the room is filling with flammable gas and you don't know how to turn it off. That is something you want to know right now and be able to remember so you can instantly go to it and shut it off before anything catastrophe happens. And finally, for water, do you know where all the shutoff valves are for all your appliances and fixtures like the sink, the toilet? Do you know how to shut off the water if those start flooding? Most fixtures should have each individual one, and there should also be a main water shutoff valve, definitely if you're in a house. If you're in an apartment, it may not be in your apartment, but that's something you should still know. Again, maybe a pipe in the wall bursts and you can't shut it off with a valve, obviously. You're gonna have to shut off the whole water in the whole place. So you definitely wanna know about these things before you ever need to know. All right, anyway, moving on, I think we're on number 6 now, is obviously you should probably have the phone number of a doctor in your phone. If it's not an emergency, but maybe you're feeling really sick and you want to know what to do, you should probably have either, if you have a primary care physician, or at least like an urgent care that's local to you, something like that, somewhere you can call and get medical treatment so you don't have to go into the emergency room, because in America especially, that costs a lot of money. So ideally it would be a primary care physician, but some other medical service that you can contact if you need help where it's not a true emergency where you're gonna die soon. Though I guess I should say, just because you're not dying doesn't mean something can't be an emergency, so just keep that in mind. I think that's common sense. All right, number 7, this kind of goes with the previous one, but a dentist. You think, what, a dentist? Why do you need a dentist in your phone? What if you knock out your tooth? Who would you call? Would you call a doctor? Yeah, they'd probably be able to help, but ideally you want to be able to go to a dentist who can put your tooth back in, because you're not aware, time is of the essence if you get a tooth knocked out. If you take too long, it's permanent. It's not going to be able to go back in your tooth. If you get it back in within a half hour or an hour, you should be good. So what you should do is go to your regular dentist that you go to and ask them if they have after hours emergency service. Like sometimes the dentist might have an answering service where if you call when they're not there, they have a company that will pick up the phone and relay the message to them. If they're like, someone knocked out their tooth, can you go into the office? It's 3 a.m. Maybe they'll still do it. Or if they don't, then there might be a 24-hour dental service for emergencies around you. You don't know, or at least find maybe a dentist that is willing to do it, because odds are you're probably not gonna be losing your tooth in the middle of the night. You could probably go to your regular dentist during the day, but who knows? You don't want to be in the situation again where you're bleeding out of your mouth, your tooth is missing, and you're trying to figure out what dentist is going to come in the middle of the night and put it back in. All right, number 8, this one is dead simple and should be pretty obvious. The number to your bank and like on the back of your credit card. So maybe you get your wallet stolen and you want to cancel that credit card right away. Obviously you can't look at the number on the back of the card because you don't have it with you if it was just stolen or you lost it. So you can at least go into your phone, if that wasn't stolen too, and say, call the bank, hey, my credit card was stolen. It'll be canceled by the time the thief even gets to a store to try and use it. All right, coming near the end, number 9, a local locksmith. You never think you're gonna get locked out of your apartment, or I guess they do cars too, but if it does happen, again, you don't wanna be waiting too long to figure out who to call. Or alternatively, which is my preference, is you could just learn to pick locks yourself. It's actually surprisingly fun. It's kind of like a little hobby, and actually a bit worrying when you realize how easy it is to pick locks that you thought were secure, especially when maybe on one of your first tries, you open a padlock that is supposed to be like really secure. You're like, wow, that absolutely did nothing. Of course, I guess you would still have to have the lockpick set on you. I guess you could hide that instead of a key, but whatever you want to do, probably want to have a locksmith in your phone. All right, finally, number 10, probably a good idea to have some sort of towing company or service, like if you have AAA in your phone. So if you're driving down the road and the wheel falls off, would that actually happen? Who knows? Well, after you worry about that, you don't have to worry about figuring out how to get your car home. If you do have one of those services, you probably have one of those cards, so you don't necessarily need to have it in your phone. Better safe than sorry though, I would say. And be sure to put your membership number in as a note on that phone contact. That would probably help as well. And another idea you could have is not just have them in your phone, but also have them in your wallet or in your car. Write them down, print them out. That way, if your phone runs out of batteries, you're stranded on the highway, you go to one of those call boxes and call it without having to use your phone. It might happen, better safe than sorry. The whole point of this video is being prepared for an emergency or some sort of other imperative situation where you need to know a phone number. Anyway, enough rambling. So if you guys like this video, let me know what you think down in the comments section. And if you want to keep watching, I'll put some other videos right here. You can just click on those. And I'm going to plug my Instagram and Twitter. If you guys want to follow those, it's just @TheoJoe for both of them. I'll try to post a lot of cool stuff on there. I'd also love it if you subscribe and enable notifications. That'd be great. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.